السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Middle 2 students, welcome and hello and welcome to our weekly English programs. توجيه اللغة الإنجليزية، منصة البث المباشر، محافظة الإسكندرية. I'm really excited to meet you today. So are you ready for today's lessons? Okay, so let's start. معكم اليوم نورة محمود حسن. Hello, I want you to bring your books with you. We will be using these books through the lesson. Unit 5, Helping You, Helping Me. We covered last week part 1 of the unit. This week, inshallah, we will have part 2, which are lessons 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we discussed last week an article about kindness. We read a blog about volunteering for charities. Today, by the end of today's lesson, you will read A Little Princess, and this is a short story. You will also read a news report about a charity, a blog about a project as well. You will know how to write a blog post on how to community. We will have a chance to speak. We will discuss random acts of kindness, أفعال الخير. We will also revise who, which, that, and where, relative pronouns. So, let's start. Lesson 4. Yes, it's a story time. Do you like stories? If you like stories, so this is your best time, right? So let's start. Tell me, what's your favorite story? I want you to remember a story that you read before and you liked most. What was it? Okay. My favorite story, for example, is David Copperfield. It's about a young boy who was an orphan. His father died and his mother as well. His life was so hard, but he finally managed to succeed. What about you? Okay, what about you, Lily or Mira? Do you remember a story that you read before?
Yes, David Copperfield.
Okay, if you want to speak up, take your time. Okay,
David Copperfield.
let's jump to A Little Princess. But before reading the story, I want you to look at the picture here. This picture is from a story called Little Princess. What do you think is happening in the story? What's happening here? What can you see? Yes, there are two. Yes, there are two women. Maybe this is a woman and this is a young girl. Okay, right? Or two girls. One of them is holding something here and she gives it to the other one. So which person do you think is the princess? Which one of them? Is that one standing here or the one sitting? How does the girl sitting in the street feel? Do you think she's happy, sad, angry? Is she hungry? Yes, I think she's hungry because she's eating, and this person here is offering her some food, right? What do you think happens next? Okay, so let's start. A little princess. Everyone at Sarah's Crew's boarding school calls her a little princess because her father is very rich. After Sarah's father dies, the head teacher, Miss Minchin, starts being cruel to Sarah because she has no money. She makes Sarah work as a servant. Sarah has to work very hard and does not get much food. However, Sarah decides to behave like a real princess. So she is always kind and polite to everyone. One day, Sarah finds a coin in the street. She can't find the owner. She goes to the baker's to buy some cakes. When she comes out, she sees a beggar and gives the girl most of her cakes. Sarah can see that this girl is cold and hungry. Sarah thinks that a real princess should always be kind and generous like this. When the baker sees this, she's surprised. This girl is very strange. She's very poor, but she is kind to beggars, she thinks. Okay, so I want you to have a look at the words here in black, in bold. Okay, boarding school, princess, servant, behave, owner, and beggar. Okay, these are the vocabulary, the new vocabulary I want you to learn. So the first word is cruel. Cruel. Cruel is an adjective. It means not kind, unkind. Okay? Remember Miss Messichin? Miss Messichin was very cruel to Sarah after her father dies. So, after Sarah's father dies, the headmaster starts being cruel to Sarah. This means she starts being unkind to Sarah. Again, cruel, cruel. The second word is boarding school, boarding school. What do you mean by the word boarding school? A boarding school is a school where students live all the time. This means that they do not go their homes at night, okay? They sleep at these schools. It's like a home for them. They only go at the weekends. They return to their homes, okay? So a boarding school is a school where students live all the time. Remember the school Sarah in the story was in? Yes. So Sarah was sent to boarding school when she was little. Boarding school. Behave. Behave. It's a verb. It means act or do something in a certain way. Behave. Behave. يتصرف. Sarah behaves like a real princess. She's always kind and generous to everyone. So she behaves like a real princess. Bigger, bigger, bigger is a noun, okay? It means a poor person who asks others for money. Remember the two girls at the photo from the Little Princess story? One of them was sitting and the other one was giving her food. The one who is sitting is a beggar because she's asking for food. So a beggar is a poor person who asks others for money. For example, Sarah sees a beggar and gives the girl most of her cakes. Beggar. Servant. Servant. Servant is a noun. A servant is a person who works in a house, cooking, cleaning, and doing the housework, and so on. The headmaster makes Sarah works as a servant after her father dies. Servant. Okay. After reading the vocabulary and studying the vocabulary from the Reading Little Princess, now we will be having some exercises. Exercise number 3. Look at the words in bold in the text, remember, the words we just discussed, and match the words with the definitions. So here we have the definitions, okay? For example, not kind, not kind. What is the word for this definition? It's cruel. Okay. The second definition is a school where the students live all the time. What is that? Yes, I can hear you. It's a boarding
Boarding
school.
school.
Right. Number 3, to act or do something in a certain way. To act or do something
Behave.
in a certain way. What is that?
Behave.
Yes, it's behave. Behave. Okay, number 4, a poor person who asks others for money. A poor person who asks others for money or food and so on. He is called beggar. Well done. What about number 5 here? Who can answer it? A person who works in a house, cooking, cleaning. Who is that person? Yes, he is a
Servant.
servant. Excellent work. So we have cruel, boarding school, behave, beggar, and servant. Well done. I want you to read the story again and answer the questions. Okay, but before getting back to the story to read it, we will read the questions first. Have a look and read from 1 to 4. Okay, let's get back. Okay, let's read the story again and then answer the questions. Everyone at Sarah's cruise boarding school calls her a little princess. Why does everyone call Sarah the little princess? Yes, because her father is very rich. What happens to Sarah after his father dies? Okay, after Sarah's father dies, the head master or the head teacher, Miss Menichan, starts being cruel to Sarah. Why does Miss Menichan starts being cruel to Sarah? Yes, because she has no money. She makes Sarah work as a servant. A servant is someone who does the housework in the house, cooking and cleaning and so on, as we discussed. So Sarah has to work very hard and does not get much food. However, Sarah decides to behave like a real princess. What is the real princess? So she's always kind and polite to everyone. These are the morals of a real princess, to be kind and polite to everyone. What happens, okay, when Sarah walks in the street? One day, Sarah finds a coin in the street. What does Sarah find? She finds a coin. She can't find the owner of the coin. So she goes to the baker's. This means the bakery, okay? The baker shop to buy. A beggar is a person who has no money. He asks for money and food. She sees the beggar and gives the girl most of her cakes. Sarah can see that the girl is cold and hungry, so Sarah thinks that a real princess should always be kind and generous like this. When the baker sees this, she is surprised. So she is surprised. This girl is very strange. She's very poor, but she's kind to beggars, she thinks. Okay, let's get back to the questions. So, question number 1. When does Sarah become a servant? Yes, after her father dies. Number 2, why is Sarah kind and polite to everyone? Because she has decided to behave like a real princess. Why is Miss Minchin cruel to Sarah? Who knows the answer? Yes, because she has no money. Why does the baker think that Sarah is a stranger? Because she is very poor, but she is kind to beggars. Although she doesn't have money, but she is kind to beggars who asks for money. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the story of the little princess. It's a nice one. Okay, so what do you think will happen at the end of the story? What do you think will happen to Sarah at the end of the story? If you read the story before, so you already know that Sarah, okay, becomes an heir to her father's wealth. Okay, so she will have all the money of her father. Okay, and this money ensures her a comfortable future. Now, I want you to summarize the short story of the little princess, okay, into 3 lines only. Summarizing means taking, okay, the main points of the story, okay, so introducing the character quickly, and then the incidents of the story, what happened to Sarah, okay, and the ending. So this is summarizing to say what happened in the story in short words. So if we summarize the story of the little princess, we might say this story is about a young girl called Sarah. So we start by saying who is the hero or the heroine, because she is a girl here. who is the heroine of the story. Okay, so she's called Sarah. So giving some information about Sarah, we say her father is rich. Okay, Sarah goes to a boarding school. After her father dies, what happens to her? The head teacher of the school makes Sarah work as a servant. Sarah is kind and polite to everyone. One day, she finds a coin in the street. Although she's poor, she gave the food she bought to a beggar. She's poor, but she's generous. So, this is a short summary of the story of the little princess. I hope you like it. Okay. Now, if I ask you to write about your favorite story, okay, how would you write a paragraph about your favorite story? I know you have a lot of ideas in your mind, but you don't know how to organize these ideas, right? So let me show you how. First, I want you to start by saying which type of stories do you like to read? Do you like to read fiction stories or non-fiction stories? What do you mean by fiction? Okay, it means unreal stories, خيالي. And non-fiction stories. This means that they are real. So you start by saying, I like reading fiction stories, for example, like The Little Princess we read. Number two, my favorite story is, and you say here the name of the story, the title of the story. So my favorite story is The Little Princess. Here we say the writer. The writer is the one who wrote the story. For example, it's written by Charles Dickens, William Shakespeare, any writer, okay? Number four, then you give like a short summary about the story, and I say it's about a little girl whose father dies, for example. Number five, you say the moral of the story. The moral, it means the lesson it teaches us to do. So it teaches us to be kind to the poor. Six, you say what you think of the story. What's your opinion? Did you like it or not? So if you like it, you say it's fantastic. It's amazing. If you didn't like it, you might say it's awful. I'd rather try to read another story in the future. So this is the way of how you write a summary or a paragraph about your favorite story. I hope now that you organized your ideas. Now it's time to read a blog. Okay, so this is a blog. It means a diary that someone writes, okay, on the internet, right? So it's a Hassan blog and it's about random acts of kindness. But now it's Random Acts of Kindness project. Read Hassan's blog and answer the questions. Our class decided to try to do one act of kindness every day for 3 days. This is what I did. First, on Monday, I bought my grandmother, some of her favorite cakes at the baker's on the way home from school. She was surprised, but very happy. After that, on Tuesday, I let some younger students go into the canteen in front of me. Finally, on Wednesday, I took a sandwich and a cold drink to the old man who often sits on our street corner. He gave me a big smile. In my opinion, doing random acts of kindness is fantastic. I don't want to stop. Okay, I think this was a nice project. Do you think? Okay, he did three things. Hassan did three things. What was the first act of kindness that Hassan did? Yes, he bought his grandma some of her favorite cakes. Tell me about her feeling. How did she feel after Hassan bought her favorite cakes? Yes, she was surprised, but very happy at the same time. Now, I want you to tell me about the second act of kindness Hassan did. He let some younger students go into the canteen in front of him in the line. He was waiting to buy sweets, but he let other students to go in front of him because they were young. That's great. How do you think the children felt when Hassan did this? I guess they were very happy. If someone gives you his turn, of course you would be very happy. Okay, what was the last act of kindness that Hassan did? Yes, he took a sandwich and a cold drink to a beggar and an old man who often sits on the street corner. Okay, so what was the reaction of the old man? Yes, he gave Hassan a big smile. Okay, what does Hassan think of these random acts of kindness? He thinks it's fantastic and he don't want to stop doing random acts of kindness and he might redo it again. Okay, number one, how much time did Hassan's class spend on this project? How much time? 3 times. Excellent. Can you read number two? What kind thing did Hassan do for somebody in his family? Who was that one? Yes, his grandmother. What did he do for her? He brought his grandmother some of her favorite cakes. Number three, what did he do for a stranger? The man, okay, who sits in the corner of the street. Excellent. He gave him a sandwich and a cold drink. Number four, which other people did Hassan help? Okay, of course, Hassan helped some of the younger students to go into the canteen in front of him. What does he think about the project? Well done. He thinks that it's fantastic and he doesn't want to stop. Amazing work. Okay, exercise number 2. Read the blog again and complete the following information. I want you to read the blog again and complete 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, what are the expressions, the words, the words for putting things in order, to order things? I use first, secondly, then, next, after that, and finally. Well done. If you notice here, Hassan used first, okay, and he used after that, and last he used finally. Well done. What about number 2? What are the words to talk about what people felt, about people's feelings, right? Okay, maybe happy. I want you to tell me about more adjectives. Okay, surprised. Excellent. Fantastic. Well done. I want you to tell me about expressions, okay, to give your opinion. So you might say, in my opinion, I think, I believe, I feel that. So you give your opinion, you use words or phrases or expressions like that. Do you notice here which one of those, okay, Hassan used in the blog? Well done. He used in my opinion. Bravo. Now it's your turn. I want you to write a blog post about random acts of kindness project. Okay, a project that you want to do. It's okay to use ideas from Hassan's blog if you want. Never mind. Okay, I want you to share me these blogs next time, inshallah, when we meet next week. Okay, remember to use notes from Hassan's blog. Like, our class decided to do one act of kindness every day for 3 days. This is what I did. Remember, if you are excited, you can use the exclamation mark. This mark here, okay, is called exclamation mark, and it shows how excited you are or how surprised. For example, I didn't want it to stop. I didn't want it to stop. This means that you are excited and you don't want these things to stop. Okay. We discussed this earlier this week, okay, but let's revise them again and for the newcomers. Okay, these are called relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. Who, which, that, and where. We use who and which and that and where to identify person, thing, or a place. So which one is for a person, to identify a person? Yeah, I can hear you. We use who and that for people. Which one for things? Excellent. Which and that. So I can use that for persons and things as well. What about the last one? Okay, which one identifies a place? It's where. Okay, let's read the examples quickly here. Number 1, Mr. Zaki is the teacher. So Mr. Zaki is a person, okay? So we identify him by using the relative pronoun who. So Mr. Zaki is the teacher who helped me the most when I started at this school. Number 2, the present. The present. So this is a thing, right? So I identify the present by saying that. The present that or the present which. I bought for my grandmother is in my bag. Number 3, Alexandria is the city. So is the city where? Because this is a place. So Alexandria is the city where both my big sisters are studying. Remember last time, who and that for people, which and that for things, where for places. Well done. Now let's have a quick revision of Unit 5. Okay, we studied these vocabulary last time. Bins, community, donate, messy, put away, take out, tied up. Let's read the passage here. This passage has missing points, and I want you to use the words from these books to fill in the gaps. You have 1 minute. So let's start. I share a bedroom with my sister, and we are sometimes quite messy. So we usually dance every evening before we go to bed. So we usually, yes, well done. We usually tied up. Tied up. It means to arrange things. Number 3, we space all our clothes and books, or our clothes and books. So we put away. So we put away all our clothes and books. Twice a week, my brother and I take out the rubbish. We do it together because the bins are quite heavy. My parents money to a charity, so my parents donate money to a charity which helps local school for disabled people. We think it's important to help people in the community. Well done. Here in exercise 2, we revise have to and has to. Remember, I and you and we and they and the plural takes have to plus verb in the infinitive form, while she, he, and it and the singular takes has to plus the verb in the infinitive. Okay, this is a dialogue between Nasser and Omar. Okay, they are discussing their plans, okay, for the evening. So Nasser is asking, do you have to study this evening, Omar? What do you think Omar answered him? So Omar says, yes, I do. I have a geography test tomorrow. Nasser asks, what about your brother? Does he have to study too? Does he have to study too? Omar answers, no. He doesn't have to study. No, he doesn't have to study, but he has to tidy up his room. It's really messy. Nasser, it's nearly the end of break. Where do we have to go for the next lesson? The laboratory. We have got science. Well done. It's very easy. Nice work. So let's jump to the next exercise. Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, here we revise the relative pronouns again. I want you to read these parts of the sentences, okay, these phrases in the blue box. And after you read these phrases, I want you to read from 1 to 4. And you are going to match these parts with the phrases from the box. You have 1 minute. Okay, the first one is done for you. My sister is a happy person. Okay, because this is a person, so my sister is a person, so I use who. My sister is a happy person who always has a smile on her face. Number 2, that is the house. That is the house. So this is a place. So we say that is the house. Where my grandmother was born. Excellent work. What about the third one? History is a subject. So history is the thing, right? It's not a person. So I use which, that, or who. So history is the subject which, excellent, I find interesting but difficult. The last one, let's go back to the beach. Let's go back to the beach. So the beach again is a place, so I use the relative pronoun where. Let's go back to the beach where we went swimming last week. One more exercise. Okay, we studied should and shouldn't. When you want to advise someone, you say you should. Or in the negative form, you shouldn't. But if this thing is necessary, okay, you have no choice to say yes or no. We use have to and has to. Now, I want you to choose the correct answer. Let's read from 1 to 5 and put the correct answer. Number 1, everyone should or have to do a random act of kindness sometimes. Okay, this is not an obligatory, okay, this is something that I give an advice for you to do. So it should do a random act of kindness. What about the second one here? Do I say you should or you have to pass your exam to go to university? Of course, this is not an advice. You have to pass your exams to go to university. Number 3, you shouldn't or you don't have to do your homework at the same time every day. You don't have to do your homework. Okay, number 4, you shouldn't or you don't have to spend too much time on social media. Okay, so this is an advice that my teacher, my father, mother, an older person gives to me. So he says, you shouldn't. The last one here, they have to or they should show their passport when they leave the country. This is the rule. So you don't have a choice and it's not an advice. It's something that you have to do. So they have to show their passport when they travel or leave the country. Okay, well done. I want you to try this exercise at home as a homework. Okay, I want you to answer these questions. Okay, what about the last one here? That is the house where my grandmother was born. Excellent, because this is a place. Number two, Ahmed is the boy who I met in primary school. Ahmed is a person, so it takes the relative pronoun who. Number three, tennis is a sport which my sister plays every week. This is because it's a thing we've identified by which. This is the charity that, okay, this is the charity that my family donates money to. Number five, put your phone in a place where it's safe. Well done. So, my dear students, I really enjoyed being with you today. Okay, I had a nice time and I hope you had a nice time too. So إن شاء الله ألقاكم الأسبوع القادم بإذن الله. Don't forget on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Be ready and prepare your student book and we will discuss إن شاء الله Unit 6. Thank you and bye bye and see you next time إن شاء الله. See you.